welcome back, Patreon subscribers and heart warriors, for the energy tips for week 49, the 1st till the 7th of December. Okay, so what we are looking at here, and this is something that I've described in the energy update real briefly, is sort of a staggered incoming expansion waves. And these expansion waves, guys, they're not for the lighthearted. Okay, as empaths and energetically sensitives, this is going to be really challenging, but not in the sense that it's going to be hard for you. It's just going to be really confusing emotionally and mentally, because these waves, when they come in, so as far as I can tell for December, and the forecast here will be published in the next couple of days for you, there's at least going to be 3 major waves, expansion waves coming in, and they'll be really intense. And what do? They really trigger this extreme in us. Okay, and as a tip, and just to give you a heads up here to understand what we're talking about, is that it will trigger your core coping. And what is your core coping? It has to do with your needs. It has to do with what you want, what you don't want, where your boundaries are, what you're not getting, and how you subconsciously deal with it. So coping is something that we do. It's an ego function that allows us, to get through times where there are things that we are need. Let's say you're really tired, but you can't go to sleep yet, and you start feeling hungry, or you start feeling like you need a coffee, or this would be coping. Emotionally, that's a little trickier, because if we're not fully in touch with our emotions, then our coping will be kind of weird. Okay, so we'll lash out, or we'll go into this distraction with it, where we just suddenly do something completely different. And this is due to the subconscious nature of our coping mechanism. All right, and so what these expansion waves will do, they will force us to go wider. And if you can imagine, if there are like little faulty codes there, okay, and you go wider with them, they just replicate and become bigger. So this is an amplification of all our unresolved things, but also of all our superpowers. Okay, so you're gonna have to deal with the challenge of really balancing this out. Okay, being an empath means that you are emotionally receptive for other people's energies, especially emotional energies, but also the mental energies and the visual projections. So what does this mean here for the next week? You're going to feel a lot of that. But is this negative? Not necessarily. If you can discern from within which is yours and which isn't, if you know the things that you project, that you normally that trigger this transference, as they call this in psychology, in you, then it's a piece of cake. And then you can really enjoy this and can sit back and can say, oh, this is interesting, how this triggers my inner child stuff, or how this triggers, me being afraid of being alone, or how this triggers, this or that, So you got to be aware of your core coping patterns here for this next week, because they're going to play out big time. So anything, that gets triggered in you will be a little bigger. And for those of you, who have been basically sitting there and waiting for something to happen, for you, things are going to happen. Okay, because for you, because you have been toning everything down so much and numbing yourself so much, it will make it possible for you to break through this threshold of numbing. For those of you who are more on the thrill-seeking side, and who get really excited about things, you're gonna have to pace this out a bit. You're gonna have to temper that a little bit, because the problem with both of these primary or core coping patterns, avoiding pain or avoiding feelings or seeking pleasure, seeking distraction, is that they both are just subconscious patterns. So it's not the true you, the true authentic you that is actually making the choices in those moments. So it will force you a little bit to stay in your center and to really be congruent with yourself. So that's actually something positive. For the entire month of December, you're going to feel a stronger influx of wanting to reach justice, wanting to reach compromises, wanting to work things out with others, okay? And internally, the way this will feel is that, you're going to feel like, I really want this. I deserve this, I'm going to go and get this. All right. And I would strongly recommend to actually follow this. Okay. Follow, this inner guidance that is coming in, hinting, at where you need to set more clear boundaries, where, you have been enabling in the past and, now you've had enough of it, and where you need to open up a bit more. So there's a great opportunity with this wave to meet somebody new, to meet, like to open yourself up for a whole new level of connection and relationship. And so I'm actually expecting, some of you to experience some intensely beautiful things next week. All right. But you're going to have to, choose wisely here. You're going to have to navigate through this. You're going to have to stay awake. So don't numb yourself and don't distract yourself. Okay. These waves come with an enormous amount of revelation, and self-reflection. And so, some of the things that I've discussed last week, about compromising. No compromises, but at the same time, lots of compromises. Why am I saying this? Because some of you guys have made too many compromises in the past, and for you, it's important to break out of this. Some of you guys have not really learned how to negotiate and how to work things out with others yet. And you're going to have to work on finding this middle ground, even if it is in regards to your job or to your living situation or your family. Okay, so working out compromises, developing, ways that work better for all of us. So expand, go with it, and allow it. But keep an eye on when you go overboard with it, because then you can get in trouble. The chakras involved here next week are the 4th and the 6th. A very beautiful combination, guys. This is where, this is what we've all been working on for decades here. This is, our inner vision, our ability to see truth, to discern truth, coming together with our heart. And what this means here for next week is primarily our emotional processing, all right? But it will open our heart, and it will really make us, become a bit more courageous as in allowing ourselves to feel more. Okay, that's good. At the same time, we're dealing with a new influx, and that is our 1st and our 3rd. They come in together. Okay, the 1st is always the core issues that we have, mostly karmic or family or child related, like where do I belong, do I have the right to be here, am I good enough, do I deserve, what I have. With the opposite of the coin, I want, I desire, this is my passion, my willpower. Okay, so you're going to have to work this out here, how you seeing truth and really your reality expanding and your heart becoming more involved. And at the same time, you're feeling this inner conflict between, your unresolved issues, karmic issues, and your unmet needs in conjunction with, yeah, or in conjunction with, I'm just going to sit that one out. So you're going to have to find that middle ground here. Overall, there is the next wave. I can already give you the reading for that, which will come in by the middle of December. Okay, will bring in a whole new aspect, in this expansion game, and that is, that you're gonna have to really know what your goals are. You're gonna have to really know what you want and how you want it, because by the middle of December, no, I'm not gonna tell you yet. I'm gonna tell you in the December forecast. All right, so 4th and 6th together, 1st and 3rd together. All right, and planetarily, collectively, the way this will play out is it's going to feel very unstable. You can see this in the financial markets, cryptocurrency market, very volatile right now. Politically, a lot of shaky stuff, a lot of, is this government going to hold or not? So there's going to be a lot of, we have no clue what the future is going to look like. Don't be afraid of that. Okay, this is where your higher power comes in, really what this will do here is this, it will bring forward the necessity to work things out between the nations, to really go into the view, the global view of things, okay? And there can be some interesting things that come forward with that, because this wave of revelation also brings in, some of the things that were maybe kept under the covers, where we feel betrayed or even deceived, by our governments, or what was simply hidden to us, okay, with not necessarily anyone in particular responsible for this. So there's going to be some interesting things here. I'm very, very curious how this is going to play out next week on a collective level, as far as nature is concerned. Continue to expect earthquakes and fires. So they're still, that's still active, guys. Sorry if you have experienced, any of these problems that come with it. Physically, this is a time here when expansion comes in, and this is like a forced expansion. You're forced to expand. Okay, this is why this feels so intense, because it's really gonna, from a cellular level, to your etheric level, everything is gonna get stretched out and amplified. And if we suppress this, guys, if you suppress spiritual or emotional or mental expansion, what's going to happen is that your body's going to expand. You're going to put on weight. Okay, so take this as a physical energy tip here for the entire month of December. That if you refuse to open up your reality, then you're going to put on weight. Okay, because your body wants to expand, your blood vessels want to expand, your lungs want to expand, your heart wants to expand. Okay, so this will bring in issues with the circular, the vascular system, and the nervous system. Okay, so those of you guys who have issues there already, and this will affect a lot of those of you who have chronic or mystery diseases, you're gonna have to really pay attention to your body this next week. Okay, also continued do cardio exercise. Okay, I know many of you will feel really lazy next week. Don't do this. Okay, don't go into your lazy mode. Okay, this is the time here where you set yourself up for being able, to handle all these expansion waves that come in. Okay. Also, blood, is affected. So your spleen, a little bit your liver, but mostly your spleen, and things that have to do with, sort of your piping, in your system that provides, the oxygen supply, that provides the supply. Okay, so your body here, see your body as your vehicle, see your body as the, the core element of your journey. No matter what your spiritual beliefs, what your spiritual practices, what your mental or emotional things are that you're going through, you're still going to wake up with your body the next day. Okay? So maybe do it the other way around from how you have been doing it. And don't go overboard with that either. Don't become a health nut. Don't become, a perfectionist with your regimen. Okay? It's supposed to, to be healthy. It's supposed to promote, the expansion, not deprivation. So don't deprive yourself. That's not healthy. Okay? Deprivation and this plays out here in the emotional, because you can see this really well. Whenever you deprive yourself, you're basically creating an imbalance that promotes craving. Okay. And emotionally, when you repress your emotions, or when you don't allow yourself, to say to express your anger or express your fear or your concerns, what this will do is it will get stuck in you energetically, and then basically push your energy down. It will create this gravity into lower vibratory places, and so everything that you suppress, creates a depression, a pressure downward. So if you suppress your anger, the next level underneath anger is fear. You're probably going to feel anxiety. If you suppress your fear, the next level underneath fear is pain. And you're probably going to feel like a victim, and you're probably going to feel depressed. And if you suppress your pain, you're going to, it pushes down, and the next level below pain is feeling unworthy, feeling guilty, feeling damned. And you're going to, like go into this really dark night of the soul. So understand that, all of your emotions are merely reflections of your energetic state, and they all have, a purpose. And so you need to go with it. You need to allow yourself to sit in them and to look at them. And if you want to utilize this expansive wave here, then look at what's underneath it. And find healthy ways to express it. If it doesn't come out that graceful in the beginning, that's fine. Okay, don't judge yourself either, because what happens when you suppress your judgment or your pride, then you become angry, you become vengeful, vindictive, and blame the collective and blame others. Okay, so no, just look at it for what it is, and accept. So this pendulum here that you're going to feel really strong next week, the way to get through this is to know your needs, to know your wants, and become aware of what major coping type you are. Am I somebody who has a tendency to numb my feelings, or to avoid my pain, to run away, to, not wanting to be present and to repress them? Or am I the type of person that distracts myself with stimulation seeking, with thrill seeking, with excitement, with sort of the next big drama? And once you allow yourself to see this about yourself, then you understand your emotions much better. Then it's a lot easier. It will become a lot easier for you to balance that. And most importantly, and this is something that we're probably going to have to talk about next week, it's also showing you what motivates you. Okay, because if you want to go into this conscious manifestation, that not just because it's the end of the year, because that's part of our journey here, that's part of our awakening, to know what drives us, to know, what motivates us, to rock up, to evolve. All right, you need to know how to motivate yourself. Okay, Now, mentally, this has to do with what I've already mentioned, the recognition, where you repress, where you procrastinate. Okay, and there are some mental coaching tools, that can help. One of the Heart Warriors posted a really cool article, which I will link to this video, how to sort of get yourselves past decision-making fatigue, as the author called it, to make things easier for you to stick with your healthy habits. But I want you to understand that those are all just mental motivation things. They won't really help you to get into this a spiritual realm that you are seeking. Okay, they won't help you, to resolve issues with, your true self, or with your true journey. Okay, they can only help you as crutches. Okay, to get past, some of your triggers. Okay. What's more important here is about this decision making, is that you understand the mechanisms of your decision making process. Okay. And how you can become your own motivator. So, using tricks and crutches, to overcome your procrastination or your laziness, or whatnot, your ego, basically, is a good way to experience yourself as becoming more adequate, or stop beating yourself up. But then you have to go a step farther with that. Life is about expressing, your highest potential. So that just helps you over the hump. Okay, the next level to that is, how you can motivate yourself to go farther. Okay. Socially, in our relationships, next week is all about maturing, is all about, understanding that, your emotions and your relationships and your spiritual journey and your physical journey, that they are all related, that they come together, and you're going to have to find the balance here between too much, too little. It can get really, really passionate this next week, but it can also get passionately dramatic next week. So find that middle ground here, whether it's with your partner, with somebody new that you're meeting, or your family. Okay? And always ask yourself, is my behavior or my choices that I'm making right now, are they supportive or are they enabling? Many of you empaths, as I've said many times before, have a tendency to be codependent, to not be able to differentiate your own needs from the needs of the other. And you have to be careful here, because codependency, unlike most people misunderstand it, it does not mean that you're dependent. No, it means that you are sort of secretly trying to control the other by anticipating their needs and by doing things for them, so that you can feel more loved, acknowledged, validated. That is what you need to look at. That is your true need. Why you're doing this. Okay? And let me assure you that this isn't as easy as it sounds, because the reason why you are doing these things can be as simple as not wanting to feel guilt or not wanting to feel pain. Okay, so you're going to have to learn how to navigate through this. Am I enabling or am I supporting? Is what I'm doing controlling, or is it, on the other end, sort of non-committive and, just basically, keeping things at a distance and not allowing them to come fully in. So where do you do too much and where do you do too little is the theme of next week. Spiritually, guys, understand that these expansion waves are there for us to really grow into and inhabit, our spiritual self. This is all about growing into, our true self here. okay? And it will trigger, you know, this seeking for purpose, seeking for meaning, seeking for belonging, seeking visions, you know, seeking fulfillment, okay? And that will be, you know, your trigger point here, because if you seek too much, you know, then you're basically preventing yourself from being open for it. Okay, so it is more the going into the internal part of that and allowing yourself, you know, to really connect with your heart. And your heart is the field in you, you know, it's the energy in you, the gateway, you know, to your true self that can show you your path. Okay, so don't seek this on the outside. And energetically, you know, you're gonna have to withstand a few aspects here, you know, with the balancing. So it's all still about self-mastery, more emotional than it was in the last couple of weeks, you know, and energy management. You know, my self-coaching tip for you is literally count the number of hours a day that you spent with either beating yourself up or thinking about other people or thinking about what other people think about you or what you could have done better or blah, 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 blah. Because if you become aware of how much energy you're actually wasting on things that, you know, can easily be resolved by you just being more present in the moment and allowing yourself this connection with your inner guidance, you know, then you understand why it's so difficult for you to manifest the life that you want. All right, guys. This concludes the energy tips here for next week. Thank you guys for supporting transCODES and for being a heart warrior. There is no better time to be a heart warrior than right now. I can assure you of this. Many of you will probably confirm this. If there are any heart warriors here in this audience for this video, leave a comment below and let others know, you know, what this individualized energy training can do for a person. That would be a great favor that you can do.